Joining us is Jonathan Saenz. He is president of Texas Values. Jonathan, thank you so much. We know you came here right off the march.
I did.
Yeah, and you brought your sign with you.
I did. I mean, I just came here to make sure everybody knows Texas is pro-life.
Amen. Love to see it.
But no, I'm glad to be a part of it. You know, the Roe versus Wade case that was overturned last year started as a Texas case, and so there's a little bit more significance to us as Texans on the issue. Of course, we did a lot of work on the Texas heartbeat law. Some people feel like that created an environment where you would see a court case like Dobbs overrule Roe versus Wade. And we're in the middle of our legislative session in Texas, so there's some really current things going on that we're drawing from and a lot of interest. I'm hearing from people on the march while I was there. Love what Texas is doing. Thank you, Texas. And so sort of leading or giving people a model moving forward, as we know Roe versus Wade was overturned, but we know that doesn't mean that in every state the laws have completely changed. And so we do still have some important pro-life work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned just a couple of moments ago to us that your office is located right across from the state capitol. So talk to me about how that enables you to have influence with these state legislators.
So Texas Values is the Family Policy Council for the state of Texas. We do pro-life, religious liberty, and marriage and family work. And we're the only faith and family organization that has an office across from the Capitol, and we're there every day during our state legislative session. And so for the past 4 to 5 sessions, we've been a part of making sure that there's a pro-life law passed. Like I mentioned, the Texas heartbeat law. As we move forward, though, there's a focus in the state of Texas and around the country how we create that culture and environment to protect women and children, to love them both. So we've got a program called the Alternatives to Abortion program. In Texas, we've allocated $100 million over a 2-year period for those pregnancy centers and other nonprofit efforts, so women and children are supported all the way up till and the baby is 3 years old. And so my good friend Abby Johnson, who's also from Texas, says $200 could be the difference in whether someone chooses to have an abortion. But we've got a website set up, TexasHeartbeatLaw.com. That website was to educate people about the Texas heartbeat law. Now it's being used to connect them with resources through the Alternatives to Abortion program. And we'd like to see that doubled. We're in our state legislative session right now. We'd like to see the state legislature double that at least to $200 million as we move forward the next couple of years.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, and you know, you guys have been so successful. Do you have any advice for other people running pro-life groups? Maybe if they run into obstacles?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, first of all, we got to start with prayer. I mean, that has made such a huge difference, I think, in this movement. But, you know, find people that are like-minded, that care about the issues. Start locally in a lot of ways. The proximity helps, right? If you have proximity to your state legislature, that's a lot of the work we do. But continuing to find people at different times in their life and see everyone has a role to play in the pro-life movement. And so we're blessed that we've had some success in Texas, but a lot of that is we've had good people that have been elected. You know, I think a lot of people noticed we had a huge gubernatorial race last year. Obviously, Governor Greg Abbott, a lot of people know him as being pro-life. Beto O'Rourke, who ran against him, his campaign was led by Cecile Richards, the former head of Planned Parenthood. That campaign was so much about the abortion issue. And so it was a response when Governor Greg Abbott won re-election. This is what the voters want, and they voted pro-life. And and I think you can see how all those things fit together when you're trying to continue to make sure life is valued.
Yeah, absolutely. And talk to me about how Texans who are not pro-life are being increasingly hostile towards the work that you're doing. You know, I recently saw a statistic that abortions have decreased by about 99% in your state. 3 abortions were reported. So talk to me about
it's been absolutely extraordinary, you know, and we know that close to 50 million abortions across the country since Roe versus Wade, but we also know that since the heartbeat law went into effect and also was upheld 3 times at the U.S. Supreme Court. And since that's sort of set in that environment, you've seen that reduction as we would have expected. And so we estimate could be close to 100,000 abortions that have been avoided since the past year and a half of the heartbeat law being in effect. And so, but that also means the culture is trying to catch up a little bit, if you will, even though we've got the law and policy on our side, and to be sensitive to that, you know. And so I had a legislator ask me about this one time at the Capitol, sort of cynically, you know, why do you do this work? Why do y'all care so much? We care about people. We do. And so I think the more that people can see that comprehensive approach, that Alternatives to Abortion program, that it's not just about the baby in the womb, also after the fact, supporting women and their families. And so in these pregnancy centers, you can see that on the front lines. They're meeting the needs of women and their families on a day-to-day basis. And so, but we understand there may be some people at times that are just still, they're thinking about this for the first time. They're talking more about it than they were before because it just wasn't necessary to them. I think that's an opportunity to reach more people. And I think once they know that we genuinely care and they realize that most, if not the overwhelming majority of women that think about this issue, that instinct is to protect that life. And so I think that's what we do it on a day-to-day basis, but also from with our communities. But remembering these are people's individual lives. They have to know that your heart's there. They have to know that you care. And I think those are great opportunities to do that. And we can have these conversations now more open than we used to. And people can learn more. They can learn, oh my gosh, I didn't know that a baby's heartbeat started so early.
Right.
I didn't know the baby was fully formed. A lot of things that many of us that have done pro-life work, you know, they come off right of the top of our head. But so it's a lot of education work. But now that we've got good policies and law in place, I think it creates a wonderful environment for more lives to be saved and for the culture to be transformed.
Absolutely. We got to wrap it up, unfortunately, but hold that sign one more time.
Yes. Yes. Just a reminder, txvalues.org for our website, texasheartbeatlaw.com for women to get those resources. And God bless Texas. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. We appreciate it. God bless you.